All right, thank you so much. We're gonna get started. All right, so we're gonna start by sitting down. We'll start the class on the floor. All right, great. And we just wanna cross our legs or put our legs in a position where we feel comfortable. So if you feel more comfortable with your legs kicked out in front of you, you can do that. Otherwise, you can cross your legs. We're going to begin by just connecting to the body, preparing for class. Start to breathe in and out. Just connecting to the body, adjusting the legs. If you have a block or pillows, you can actually place them underneath your legs, and that might help you to be able to relax a little bit. If you want to kick your legs out in front of you, you can do that too. And sit up a little tall, maybe even bringing your hands towards the back of your body and placing them on the mat so that you can just lift up through your pelvic bowl, through the rib cage, in towards the heart. And we're going to roll the shoulders away from the ears and just relax the full upper body so that it is melting into the lower body, and our lower body is now melting into the mat. And you feel the sense of support coming from the ground beneath you. If you like to take a hand and place it on your belly, you can do so now. Maybe take two. And just begin to just feel the rise and the fall of the belly. Noticing the way the breath helps to support the rise and the fall. Do your best to connect to the breath in the moment. This is a moment by moment experience. Our goal throughout this practice is to remain as present as we possibly can, aware of our movement in our body, aware of the breath, and even aware of our emotional body throughout the practice. And take about 5 breath cycles in and out to just come here and become present. On the next exhale, we're going to collectively let all the air out of our body and take a few breaths in together. Exhale. Allow the navel to suck down towards the spine. All the stale air leaves the body. And then inhale and breathe in. And allow the belly to be the place where you want to fill up with the breath. You want to do your best to just know that that's the direction that you're moving in. Exhale, release, navel touches the spine. Inhale, again breathing in and going to a place where you're reaching your boundary of breath. And then exhale, letting go. And it's a gentle release of the breath. And eventually all the air leaves the body. 2 more times, but take it on your own. Allow for your body and your breath to just be one. We're going to bring our hands now down to the sides as we prepare for practice. We can kick our legs out in front of us and start to just kind of pop them up and down a little bit so that you can just loosen them up, loosening up the hamstrings. Your hands are by your sides for support. Yeah, there you go. And what I would say is that we want to make sure that our legs are soft. So we're not going for the straight leg down on the mat. What we're doing is we're lifting up our legs and we're allowing some space to be there. And this is what we call soft legs, soft knees. Breathe in and breathe out. Yes. Slowly take the arms, reach them up overhead. We're going to do our first seated forward fold of the class. But we're only going to come and bring our hands to our ankles or to our shins. We're not going to go for the toes right now. Allow the chin to tuck into the chest. Breathe in and breathe out. Gently let the head start to melt. And if you can start to let the legs relax, slowly coming towards the mat, still remaining soft. Then we're going to lift up through our chest body just a little bit. And the way we do that is we squeeze the core, we lift up through the pelvic bowl, and we start to just kind of bring the belly towards the thighs. Okay, and as you can see, my legs are not down on the ground yet. We're not there. We're just getting prepared and getting situated. And chin comes down. Belly starts to press towards the thighs. And if it's in your practice now, you can reach for the toes. And if it's not in your practice, don't worry about that. You don't have to do it. There's nothing that says you have to touch your toes. Take one more breath here, and then inhale. Arms are going to rise up. Lift up overhead. And then the hands are going to come down by the side. Inhale, let's do that again. Arms lift up, reach up. We're going to lift out the pelvic bowl and then bring the hands down to a comfortable place, dropping the chin to the chest, seated forward fold. Now let yourself just hang here for a moment. Inhale, breathe in, come back up, rise back up. Arms reach up overhead, and then hands come down by the side. Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to take our feet now, and while we're sitting up nice and straight, see what happens now when you loosen the legs down and the hamstrings come down towards the ground. Hands stay behind you to keep you upright. Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to open up the legs. All right, so give yourself some space. The inner thighs are stretched all the way down to the feet. The feet are flex so that the toes are waving hello. Arms are going to reach up, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and pivot your body over towards the right. Breathe in, look up, gaze up. And then on the exhale, bring your whole body down and allow your hands to come. Your right hand on the right side and your left hand on the left side. And you're still facing that the right position. You're looking at your right toes. And your hands are positioned on the ground. Your elbows are not bent. You're just looking over the right side. And pause for a moment and just breathe. Feel the stretch. Notice the way the sensation may change if you loosen your ankle. What happens if your knee is a little soft on the ground and you're lifted up a little bit higher, right? What happens if you start to just ease in to allowing your body to just relax into the pose? Maybe that means that your chest lifts up a little bit more and your hands come back. The goal is to be able to find your place and find your spot. Find your yoga. Slowly, arms are going to rise up. We're still looking over towards the right side. We're going to pivot towards the center, and then we're going to pivot towards the left side. Again, now we're parallel. Our hands are parallel to one another. We're facing our left toes. Our left toes are waving hello to us. Okay, adjust the body. If you need to soften the knee on the left side, and then just drop your hands down. Left hand is on the outside of the left leg. Right hand is on the inside, and you are basically parallel. So your hands are parallel. to your leg. Your body is facing the toes. You're square, so to speak. And take about 3 breaths in and out to just notice the full length of the leg. Notice the full stretch. If you want, you can drop your chin to your chest and close your eyes. Just take this moment to let go a little bit. Arms come back up. We rise up to the left and then we pivot to the center. Okay, I want you to soften the knees and bring the legs up so that they're hovering over the ground, and then bring your hands down the center. Okay, so you're going to bring your hands down the center. And the reason why we start like this, and like I say throughout the practice, is softening the knees helps us to eventually ease into the pose. We don't have to jump in head first, so to speak. We can test the water and the temperature. If you want to bring your legs all the way down and you want to go for that kind of stretch, you're welcome to do that, but it's not necessary. Inhale and exhale as you breathe in and breathe out. And then let your body, your upper body, start to just sink towards the ground. If you want, you can walk the fingertips forward and inch down, breath by breath, moment by moment. Slowly start to walk the hands back up, taking it one step at a time. Beautiful, beautiful. We're going to bring our left foot down the center line. Our right foot, we're actually going to bend. And we're going to place the foot so that it's touching the inside of the left leg. Okay? Yeah, beautiful. Now you can stay like this, or if you like, you can bring your right foot on top of the left thigh. And the way that looks is just your toes are kind of just touching the top of the thigh. Okay, so you have these two modifications, foot on the inside or toes and the side of the foot on top. Okay, for this part of the practice, I'm going to put the toes on top. And then arms come up, overhead, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and start to just press the belly forward. Okay, so you're pressing the belly forward. Eventually, you're bringing the hands down to the mat, and you're dropping your chin to the chest. And wherever you are in space is fine. And when I say that term, wherever you are in space, that means wherever your hands go, whatever your boundaries are when it comes to stretching, is perfectly suitable for this practice. And the space is just the space between your upper body and your lower body. So take the breaths, breathe in and out. And wherever you are, try to make peace with it. Over time, you'll start to expand your stretch and become more flexible. Yep. One more breath. And while you're here, really just do your best to be completely present with every sensation in the body, with every part of the breath. Slowly walk the hands back up, sitting up nice and tall, lifting out of that pelvic bowl. So use the strength of the core to lift up, completely active. You can bring that foot back down and now stretch the right leg out, all right? And maybe shake it out a little bit. Maybe rotate the ankles a few times. We're going to take our left foot now. We're going to find a home either on the inside of the right thigh or on top of the right thigh, your choice. All right, and for this part of the practice, I am going to keep my foot on top. And slowly lift up, bring your fingertips to the ground and start to press your belly forward. And as an inhale, exhale, and that's the way we start to just connect to our breath and our breath to our body. And little by little, we can start to ease deeper into the pose. Remember, there's nothing about this that has to be perfect. There's actually no such thing, to be honest with you. Two more breaths, completely present, connecting to the stretch. Gently arms rise up, reach up overhead. Kick out that left foot, shake them out. Let those hands look up and lift. And what we're going to do, just the same way we had started our first forward fold in the class, what we're going to do is do it again, but notice the difference in our legs and see if we can go a little bit deeper into the fold. Beautiful. Now, right now, my knees are very soft and they're lifted off the mat, but if I start to lower them back down, it's my control. It's within my ability. So that's what I want you to do. Find your ability and control to find your sweet spot. Good job. All right, arms lift up, reach up overhead. All right, we're going to bring in our foot again. But this time what we're going to do is we're going to take that foot and slide it underneath. You can bring your hands down. You can slide that right foot underneath your left so it weaves underneath your left leg. Your left leg is going to be pressed on the ground. So, your left foot is going to be on the ground and your knee is going to be up. Okay? And then you're going to kick that right foot up by your sits bone. Okay, you can do your best. I know sometimes you may not be flexible and your foot might be on the outside, and that's completely fine. For this part of the practice, we're just getting a nice little stretch on the lower part of our body where our back muscles are. Arms reach up, lift up overhead. We're going to pivot over towards the left. Bring the right hand somewhere on the left leg. So wherever it is fine. If you can hook it over, that's great. And then take our gaze behind us. This is what it looks like from the side. Gaze is behind us. Eyes are over the left shoulder. And just allow the breath to come through the body. Know the more that you sit up out of your pelvic bowl, the better that the air is going to travel from the chest down into the belly. So if you feel your air getting kind of caught on something, try to sit up a little bit taller. Breathing in and out. Continue to breathe. Thank you so much. And then continue to take that gaze behind us. Come back to center. Arms reach up overhead. All right, so arms are up overhead. Hands come back down behind us, placing them on the ground. Remember, the ground is the place for our support. We're going to unwind our legs. So we're untwisting our legs. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So bend the right knee so that the foot is on the ground, the knee is bent. The left foot is going to come underneath. Okay, and then we're going to bring our foot right atop or to the side, your choice. Arms reach up overhead, pivot the body over towards the right. And now you're going to bring your left hand somewhere on that right leg, okay? So even if your hand is just cuffing the knee, that's fine. But if the elbow comes over, that's the goal. Then our right hand comes behind us. And we're just getting a nice spinal twist. Again, lifting up out of the pelvic bowl, taking the gaze behind us. It's wringing out our spine, getting out all the toxins. Breath by breath, we continue to allow the air to come through the body. And breathe in and breathe out. Come back to center. Arms reach up overhead, kick out the legs. Last seated forward fold for now, because then we're going to swoop around and we're going to start to build up, okay? So soften those knees, come back down, feel the difference. And I want you to notice this part of the practice. I know that we are being repetitive with some of our poses, but that's the great part about it. Notice how each time the quality of the pose changes. Every time you stretch out the body, something happens where the body is able to feel better, feel a little bit more flexible. Even if it's just a little bit, just take notice of that and focus on that. Beautiful. Hands come to the side. Bring both hands to the left or the right. And then come to your knees. Now here's the thing. If you're on your mat and you feel like your knees are a little weak, all right, you can take your mat. This is the thing I love about mat yoga, or if you have a blanket, you could do this too, and you can just roll up your mat, and now it's underneath your knees. You have the extra padding, okay? And it's okay to do these things for ourselves. When we're doing yoga, it's our practice. So if you need that, go for it. And then what this is called is a tabletop position. So our arms are shoulders length apart, so our shoulders are stacked on top of our elbows, and our elbows are stacked on top of our wrists, and the palm of our hand is on the ground. Our knees are about hips width apart, okay? So just so you can see what that hips width apart looks like with me, you can see there's a hole in between my legs. So what it is that my hips width apart, okay, are matched up to my thighs. Beautiful. Straight back. Imagine somebody can place tea on your back, a cup of tea, and that tea would not fall. Allow for the ab muscles to wrap around the back body. Sit out a little bit more by lifting up through the arms, lifting up through the rib cage, and breathe in and breathe out. We're going to start off with a balance. We're going to take our right toes, so wiggle your right toes, and press that right foot behind you. Okay? Let me come a little bit more just so you can see it. So press that right foot behind you like your feet are pressing on the wall and you're making a footprint. Okay? So imagine your favorite color right now and imagine that your foot is making that color on the wall behind you. Breathe in and breathe out, and then bring the knee gently back down to the mat. Then we're going to take our left, wiggle the left toes, bring that left foot up, press that foot behind us. So we're making that footprint with our left foot as well. Lifting out of the pelvic bowl, pressing our thigh into our knee and our knee into our ankle, and our ankle presses towards our heel. Our feet are flexed so the toes are pointed towards the ground. And then bring the foot back down. Next, what we're going to do is come into a child's pose. And this is a really great variation. We're going to do this a couple of times throughout this part of the practice. And what we do is we sit our hips towards our heels, but you can bring your knees apart or together, okay? And then your head is going to come down to the mat. So forehead down to the mat. Your hands can come behind you or they can be in front of you. It's your choice, okay? So that's the thing about child's pose. You have multiple ways you can do child's pose. Heads come down, relax and breathe, and allow the breath to flow from the top of the head all the way down to the spine. And think about the belly and how the belly is accepting the air. Imagine that the belly is completely uniformed with the legs and the mat and is harmonizing. So each breath is a breath of harmony. So adjust your legs so that you can feel that harmony, can feel a sense of peace. And as you keep your head relaxed on the mat, what you can also do is rock your head back and forth. So like if you ever have a headache or anything like that, it's massaging the forehead. And you're going left and right and yes and no. And just relax. Let it completely go. Two more breaths.
One more breath. Start to walk the hands forward so much that as you do that, it gives you the strength to be able to come back up into your tabletop position. Your forearms start to lift off the mat, and then your fingertips guide you forward back into tabletop. Breathe in and breathe out. Again, we're going to come into a balance, but this time we're going to challenge ourselves a bit more. So take the right foot, press it back behind you, pressing through that hip into the knee, from the knee into the foreleg, and from the foreleg into the heel. Take the left hand, so right foot is back, left hand is now pressing forward, and somebody is gripping that left hand. Fingertips are pressing towards the front of the wall, wherever you are, towards the front of you. And now your body is being pulled into two. The strength is coming from your core, and as you lift up more and you breathe into it, you're able to get more balance. Keep your hand positioned on the mat, and keep your knee positioned on the mat on the opposite side. Then gently bring the hand and the knee back down. And then we're going to do it on the other side. So the left foot comes back. The right hand comes forward. Same thing. Your body is being pulled in two different directions, and that makes you lift up a little bit more. So instead of feeling the fear, what you're doing is you're breathing through it. You're breathing into your balance. And then come back to center. That wasn't so bad. One breath, one movement, child's pose. Breathe in and out. And then take your time as you come back up into your tabletop position. Oh, beautiful. Next, we're going to do some cat-cows. So take about 2 more breaths here in tabletop before we get started. You can tuck the toes under, and this helps with just being able to push and pull more with your back body and your vertebrae. And then the belly, we're going to start out with a scared cat. So have you ever seen a scared cat? Their back body domes up. It's almost like their back can touch the ceiling or the sky. And then the navel tucks into the spine. And as you inhale and breathe in, the chin tucks into the chest. And again, we're still keeping our hands positioned here on the ground. Shoulders are still in line with shoulders length apart. And then when you're ready, we're going to reverse. So we're going to come into a cow position. And the cow is when the back and the vertebrae inverts. Now our belly starts to sink towards the mat. Our heads go back. The neck body is vulnerable in a sense because it's completely exposed. So the chin is up towards the ceiling, the best, you best you can. Your gaze is up. And our arms have not really changed at all, so we want to keep them there, but we're just connecting to this place in our pose where we're able to breathe through. Then we reverse. Now we add the breath. Inhale and breathe in to scare cat. On the exhale, cow. Looking up, gazing up. Reverse to cat. Come back to cow. Do 2 more of these. Make them your own. And even if you don't have a really huge lift or sink for the cat-cow, it's okay. You don't have to exaggerate it, Just do what you can do. And then we're going to come back down when you're done into child's pose. It's really important because we want to relax our wrists. We want to be able to maybe even twist those wrists around a few times. And then inhale, come back up. Tabletop position. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. We're going to do 2 more things in tabletop. So I want you to take your hips. All right. And I'm going to move this way so you can see me. So I want you to take your hips and take your left hip and just kind of poke it out towards the left side. And then take your gaze and try to look over your left shoulder so that you're looking at that hip. And I know you may not actually see the hip. I don't even see my hip. But just so you know, it's this circular motion. So it's a half a circle. I'm trying to look over to my hip. Then I reverse, and the curve comes on the right side. Now I'm poking my right hip out, and I'm looking over my right shoulder. And what this does is it provides me like an S curve. And I'm just gently but effectively making my spine more mobile. Okay. And do it 2 times on each side. Yeah, beautiful. Good job, guys. Then sit your hips towards your ears. Sit your hips towards your heels, forehead to the mat, child's pose. Come back up. Tuck the toes under. Breathe in and breathe out, just to gain yourself here. And slowly we're going to start to lift the knees off the ground. Okay? So the knees are lifted up, and we're just pressing our hands into the mat a little bit more, and we're pressing our shoulders back. Breathe in and breathe out, and then gently bring the knees back down to the mat. Keep the control. Okay? Good job. Inhale, breathe in, come back. Knees are hovering over the mat, but this time, if downward dog is something that you're familiar with, come into your downward facing dog. Press your heels towards the mat. Straighten out the legs. Now fix up your downward facing dog so that you're able to have a triangle pose, so to speak. And what we're going to do by cleaning up our downward dog is we're going to make sure that our feet and our hands are pressed firmly into the mat. And when I say our feet, it's pretty much our toes to start with. And then our hands, we want the full knuckle of the palms pressed into the mat. And we're just going to start to push back so that our bellies are starting to come towards our thighs. Head is hanging heavy. Let the head maybe shake yes and no. Nothing to do and nowhere to go but to be in your downward facing dog. Slowly, we're going to take our right foot and start to walk our right foot forward and then our left until we come into a forward fold, a standing forward fold. Our hands are hanging down in front of us. Their hands are heavy, and we're not going to go back down to the ground until we're ready to finish. So you just want to get positioned up to stand for a little bit and do some standing poses. Soften the knees. I love the soft knees. And then slowly start to half lift flat back. And what that is we walk our fingertips up. They're right above or below our knees. And we stay here. And then we exhale, we let go again, soften the knees, hands are heavy, maybe even let your hands shake back and forth. And then gently we start to come up, vertebrae by vertebrae, rolling our back body, maybe to the count of 5. Until we're completely standing. And it's a slow process. Continue to breathe, don't hold the breath. And once you finally get up to the top, roll the shoulders back away from the ears. Great job. Great job. And the shoulders are back away from the ears. We're standing now in mountain pose. Take your hands, flip them forward. Breathe in and breathe out. Make sure your feet are about hips width apart. There you go. Beautiful. Yep. Breath by breath. Close the eyes, relax the shoulders, and just feel the full length of the body. Feel the full length of the hands. Soften the knees. Gently, we're going to bring our arms up overhead, lift them up, reaching up out of the pelvic bowl. As we sit and sink into our knees a little bit, that gives us the push so that we can just kind of push up and plop up. Gaze is up, back bending the body slightly if it's in our practice. Hands are overhead. Breathe in and out. Gently bring the hands back down by the side to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. We're going to pop up, lifting up, reaching up, fingertips rise. Hands are parallel to one another, but this time we're going to take the fingertips, we're going to interlace them and press the palms up towards the ceiling. Breathe in and breathe out. I want you to allow some of the weight to shift onto the right side, but keep the left foot grounded. Then we're going to take our body and we're going to start to pivot it so that we're looking up through our shoulder on the left side and our gaze is up towards the ceiling.
And we're just stretching the rib cage on the left side, and we're kind of starting to tilt towards the right. And then come back to center. And we're going to lean to the left this time, and then pivot open our right arm, and we're going to look up to the right side. Breathe in and out, and now we're stretching out the right side of that rib cage. And then come back to center. Hands come down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Interlace the fingers behind you. Press the arms back. Lift them out away from the body. Now you don't have to go far. If it's too much, you can just keep your hands on your sacrum. Otherwise, you can just kind of pull out and get that nice stretch in your arms and also in your shoulder blades. And then drop the hands. And now open up the legs and just shake it out. Just like a kid in a park. We just take our hands, let them hit back and forth. And this is our way when we're standing to kind of break it up. So when we were on the ground, we were breaking up the poses with seated forward folds. Once we came to our tabletop position, we were doing a child's pose. And now while we're standing, this is what we're going to do to break up each pose. Is we're going to just hit our hands back and forth and twist our bodies, which is super fun, by the way. We're going to come back to breathing. Come back to mountain pose, hands in front of you. Good job. Drop your chin to your chest. And then just roll your right ear towards your right shoulder. Drop your chin back down to your chest and roll your left ear to your left shoulder. Back to center. And go in for about 4 head rolls. Just going left to right. If you want to drop your head back all the way, you can. But I like to do a 180 degrees just to start, because sometimes our bodies are just not ready to do a full 360-degree roll. And then come back to center. Take the gaze back up. And shake it out. Just a few shakes. And keep breathing. That's the goal. Don't stop breathing. All right. So we're going to take our legs now. We're going to pull them apart. So we're going to walk them apart so that they're about at least 2 to 3 feet in length away from each other. Right now our feet are parallel to one another. But what we're going to do is we're going to press them out so that our right foot is facing towards the right and our left foot is facing towards the left. Gently, we're going to just ease into sitting into our thighs, lowering down, taking our bellies and just kind of pressing them in a little bit and sitting a little bit lower. All right? So when you find your place of comfort, that's great. What you don't want to do is have your knees to the front of the mat and your feet are to the side. You want to keep your knees right in line with your toes. Take your hands, lift them up and come into goddess pose. Breathe in and breathe out. Take both hands, bring them together so that the palms are pressed, and bring your hands to heart center. Now we're standing in goddess pose. We're activating our thighs, which is going to be very important for the rest of the poses in the class. We're tucking in our tailbone and we're sitting even a little bit lower. I want you to challenge yourself to sit just a little bit lower, even if it's only a millimeter. Inhale, arms are going to reach up. We're going to lift up. Take those hands overhead, gaze is up. Bring the hands back down by the side and then pop back up. Inhale, arms lift up, reach up. Hands come to heart center. Palms are pressed. Inhale, look up, gaze up, reach up, lifting up out of the pelvic bowl, straighten out the legs. Yes. 2 more. Inhale, match the breath with the movement, sitting as low as you feel comfortable. Hands to heart center. Palms are really pressing into each other. Remember, in this practice, we're completely present. So feel your full body activated from the thighs to the belly to the hands, and then press back up. Squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the body. Let the hands come down by the side. Last one. And then we slowly start to lower. Beautiful. And then
Hands come back up. And that's the last one. We're going to bring our feet back together a little bit and do our twists. Just breaking it up as we prepare for the next pose. But just continue to notice the effects of that. Notice those parts of the muscle and the body that were active. Yes. Again, we're going to open up our legs, but this time we're only going to twist our left foot towards the front wall. Our right foot is going to find a home, and I'm going to stand like this just so you can see me for right now. What I want you to think about is that your feet are on two different train tracks. So even though your left foot is facing over to like a 45-degree angle and it's just slightly tilted outward, your right foot is in front of you. You're not in this one straight line for your warrior. We're going to prepare for a warrior, okay? You have space, and your legs are kind of parallel to one another, okay? Just because it looks like that from the side, that doesn't mean it. So give yourself some space. The other option is to, throughout this practice and throughout all your warriors, you can be anywhere. If your feet are only 1 foot apart, that's fine. If you have a wider stance, that's fine as well. What your goal is to make sure that your knee does not run over your toes. So you want to bump back on that right hip, bring that left hip forward, and make sure that you're square. Okay? You're square. Imagine driving up a hill and your headlights are your hips and they're completely in line with the road in front of you. Again, tuck in that tailbone and imagine that there's maybe a ball or a block in between your thighs, and just like we did in our goddess pose, reactivate those thighs. When you're ready, take your arms, lift them up, reach them up. If back bending is in your practice, great. If not, just keep the fingertips up. Keep the shoulders away from the ears and take the gaze up. Gaze up towards the ceiling. Warrior 1. Okay? I'm somewhere in between with my stance. So you go wherever you feel most comfortable. And we just pause for a moment in Warrior 1. Feel the strength. Feel the activity from the toes to the sides of the feet, up the thighs, to the belly. The shoulders, the hands, the head, and the eyes, all active. And as you take your next breath in, I want you to take your right hand and bring it forward. Left hand comes behind you. Your stance opens up wide. Your heart is now open, Warrior 2. Take your gaze and keep it over your right shoulder, right fingertips. And feel strong in your Warrior 2. We don't have to rush through it. We just want to feel and embrace each part of our warrior, our strength that comes within for us to keep our arms even up. Some days this can be easier than others. Other days it can be quite difficult. So just acknowledge that and give yourself honor and respect as you do it. Slowly, we're going to lean forward, sky flip our right palm, and then we're going to take the gaze up as it follows our hand towards the ceiling. Our left hand comes down to our thigh, right hand is up towards the ceiling, gaze is up. If it's in your practice, you can reach for clothing, right? Or you can even go in for your bind. That doesn't mean that you have to do it. You can keep your hand right here, but those are options for you. Slowly unwind that right hand back into Warrior 2. Gaze is still towards the right. I like to straighten out the right leg now and come into triangle before anything. So start to lean forward towards the right and then soften the right knee, but bring your hand to either the thigh or the foreleg, and take your pivot your body so that you're looking up towards the left and you're looking up your left arm. Now, if you're on your thigh right here, that's what it's going to look like for your triangle. If you are able to bring your hand all the way down or anywhere on your thigh, on your leg, that's fine too. So just know that there are variations in range, and I want you to find yours. Slowly take the left hand, bring it towards the left like somebody's about to take your hand and grab it, and allow your left hand to help you lift up out of your pelvic bowl and come back into standing. Bend the knee once again on the right side, and then pivot back to warrior one. Breathe in and breathe out. Hands come to the side, and then we're going to walk forward. Beautiful. And shake it out. And as you're shaking it out, we're going to come, right after we're done, we're going to come back into mountain pose and just pause for a second before going to do it on the other side. I want you to notice the way your right side feels. Notice the way your left side feels. Yes. And soften the knees so that you prepare. Keep the hands wide open. And if there's anything you need to do right now for your body, I'd like you to do it. So if there's something you need to offer yourself, go for it. And for the next part of this pose, just practice this idea of honoring yourself and staying committed to that. So you're challenging yourself in these poses, but you're also honoring yourself. We're going to open up our stance once again. This time we're going to take our left foot and we're going to point it towards the left side. We're going to start to soften the knee so that we bend. And we don't want our left knee to be running over our left toes. What we want to do is have our left knee stacked on top of our ankle. Our right foot, just like on the left side, has a little bit of space. And it's now at a 45-degree angle. And we're pressing into the outer rim of that right foot. The leg is long. Sit a little bit lower into the pose. And then arms rise, reach up, lift up overhead. You want to make sure that you're bumping the right hip forward, the left hip back in your warrior one. Remember, our headlights are facing forward, going up the road. It's completely in line and parallel. Breathe in and out. Continue to stay active from the feet all the way through the legs, the belly, the chest, the back, the arms. If you can sit a little bit lower, do so. If you need to adjust to come in a little bit more, do so. Your choice. We're going to take our left hand and bring it in front of us. Right hand comes behind us. We're going to come and look over our left shoulder. Warrior two. It's a nice, strong warrior. Adjust your feet as you need to and adjust your stance. Over time, you'll see the more that you sit into the pose, the more balance and strength that you gain to keep your balance. But you have to get comfortable with it, and it's a practice. So it's a pushing boundaries practice. Slowly, we're going to lean our body forward, sky flip the left hand, and then take that left hand and just like you're tracing something, trace up to the top of the ceiling. Right hand comes onto the right thigh. Again, if you're closed, if you want to pull on the back of your clothes or you want to go in for your bind, you're welcome to do that. Whatever's part of your practice for your reverse warrior. Gaze is up. Wherever you are is fine. All right, so we're going to bring that left hand down. And we're going to stretch that left leg straight. We're going to come into triangle now on the left side. Remember, the knee is still soft. Even though it's straight, it's soft. Right hand is out. Left hand is out. But we're going to slowly start to tilt the body towards the left and find a home for our hands. Starting on the thigh. Take the right hand towards the ceiling. If it's in your practice to go beyond your thigh and come down to your forelegs or come down to the ground for your triangle, you're welcome to do that. Make the adjustments in your leg as you need to. And these are all part of our range. Bring that right hand back towards the right side like somebody's going to pull it. Allow for that right hand to guide you out of the pose. coming back up, pivoting the body, and then sitting back into that lunge pose, into warrior two. And then we're going to pivot our bodies around. We're just cartwheeling those hands, bringing them up towards the ceiling, warrior one. And then bring the hands down by the side. Take the feet, come back to center. And then we just take our hands and kind of go back and forth. Beautiful. All right. Come back into mountain pose. This is our last mountain pose before we come back down to the mat. We're going to do a little mat work, and then we're going to come into Savasana. Now notice your left and your right. It's okay to take this time to just reflect for a moment. Just be completely mindful of your body. And we're going to prepare to come to the mat. So the easiest way possible, just come down to the mat. Come to taking a seat. Okay. Our feet are going to be pressed on the ground. Our knees are bent. We're going to lift up our hands. We're going to squeeze our core. And we're just going to stay here for a few moments. Just feel the strength inside your belly build. This is probably not the most fun part of class, but it's definitely necessary to build a little bit of strength. Slowly lift up the heels and keep the toes on the mat, and just lean back a little bit, and then bring your hands into a position into palms pressing. Now they're not in heart center, but they're pressing forward. Okay, so the extension of those arms are there. We're going to twist our body to the right, and then come back up to center. Twist our body to the left. If it's in your practice to lift up your legs into full boat pose, you're welcome to do that, but you don't have to. You can just keep your toes on the ground. And if it's really hard for you to even do that, you can keep the whole foot on the ground and just feel that strength come from the belly body. All right, hands extend out and slowly start to lower down to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down until your full back body is on the ground. Hands are by your sides while you do this. Great. Take a breath. Notice your full body. And then bring your, you squeeze your core and bring your knees up towards your chest and just hug your arms around your knees and just roll back and forth for a nice little massage on the back body. Take a breath. We're going to take the bottoms of our feet, if possible, and just kind of bring them together for butterfly pose. And if you can keep your full back on the mat, that's great. You can also extend out the butterfly so that the knees are kind of pressing forward. Your fingertips are wrapped around your hands. It helps you to get a little leverage for your butterfly. And remember, a butterfly flaps, so it can be something that you add to your practice to kind of flap your legs back and forth a few times. Help you to ease into that pose. Then our hands are going to cuff both our left and our right foot. So our left hand cuffs our left, our right hand cuffs our right, and we just come into happy babies pose. And I don't know if you're familiar with babies, but they just kind of rock back and forth like this. And this is where the pose is inspired from. You're welcome to keep your hands on the outside, but if you want to move and hook your fingers around, like your index finger, your middle finger around your toe, you can do that as well. You can just kind of rock back and forth. And gently we're going to place our feet back down onto the mat. Again, knees are still bent. Take the right foot, okay, so wiggle the right toes and straighten out that leg and lay it flat on the mat. We're going to bring the left knee up towards the left armpit. Take the right hand and place it on the outside of the left knee. And then gently just drop. Bring that left knee over and drop it to the outside of the right leg. So You're actually crossing your leg, your left leg, over towards the right. Your left arm can stay straight, like it's still facing the left wall or whatever is on the left side. And you can take your gaze so that you're looking over your left fingertips. Slowly twist and come back to center, twisting that left leg back towards the left armpit. We're going to bring our right foot back into back to the mat. Knee is bent on the right side, and now we're going to stretch out the left leg. So we're going to do the other side. Right knee comes up towards the right armpit. Left hand now is placed on the outside of that right leg. And then we're going to twist that right leg over towards the left. Extend our right hand. Look over our right hand. Allow our body to be in this kind of twisted position for our spine. And take a few breaths. Gently come back to center, unwinding out of the pose, bringing that right knee up towards the right armpit, and then stretching the leg back out. Now, if you are somebody who's not very comfortable with your legs and your body like this completely stretched, that's fine. You can bend your knees and keep your knees bent for Savasana. Okay? But otherwise, if it's in your practice, you can stretch out your legs. Stretch your hands up above your head and give yourself a final long stretch. And then bring your hands down by your side, sky flipping the palms or placing a hand on the belly. In whatever way your legs are, find a comfortable position for them. And we're going to prepare for Savasana. When you're ready, you can close your eyes. Allow your feet to fall away from one another. Relax your legs, your ankles, your knees, your thighs. Let your hips fall apart from one another. Relax the belly and the back. Allow your back maybe to be completely supported and trusting of the ground beneath you just in this moment. Relax the chest, the arms, the elbows, the hands, and the fingertips. Relax the throat, the face. Let the tongue fall away from the top of the mouth so that your jaw is completely loose. Relax your eyes, the crown of your head. And when you're ready, congratulate yourself on a job well done. Completely honoring yourself for this practice. And continue to just be here in your Savasana, knowing that you've earned it through each pose and each moment, breath by breath. You can continue to stay here until I ring the singing bowl, and at that time we'll close together. Continue to breathe.
come back up to sitting, taking your time, maybe rolling to the left or the right side and gently pushing the body up. Breathing in and out and just taking your time. When you're ready, allow the arms to reach up overhead and press together to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much.